They live underwater, breathing air and swallowing their prey whole. And if that's not enough to freak you out, hear this. They can also completely regrow their teeth dozens of times over the course of their lives. So how is it that crocodiles can lose and replace their teeth so easily? Welcome to my channel. And today we're answering the question, can crocodiles lose their teeth? If you think that losing a tooth as an adult sucks, then just be glad you're not a crocodile, because they can lose their teeth hundreds of times over the course of their long lives, and they don't even need to floss. It's all thanks to some amazing adaptations. And there are actually 4 things that make it possible. First off, each tooth of a crocodile isn't grown alone. Instead, each tooth grows underneath another tooth. So say the top tooth falls out or wears down. No big deal. The bottom tooth will just grow up to take its place. But how does that work? Well, if you look at a tooth from the side, you can see that it kind of looks like a little nail. And that makes sense because teeth are like the nails of the mouth, except instead of holding up your house, they hold up your smile. And just like fingernails, teeth grow from the bottom. Now, if you were to dig into the very bottom of a tooth, you wouldn't find a fingernail, but you would find a little pocket. And that's where the magic happens. Every tooth has a stem cell pocket. And you know those little guys. They turn into whatever cell type they need to be. So they can become skin cells, muscle cells, neurons. And in the case of crocodiles, they become teeth cells. Now, the thing about stem cells is that they can hang around for a while, making copies of themselves before becoming something more specialized. That means there's a constant supply of young cells in the stem cell pocket that can become teeth cells, which means there's always a brand new tooth growing beneath every tooth. So when the tooth above it falls out, it's ready to go. This process is similar to how you replace skin cells, except instead of skin cells turning into more skin cells, stem cells in your bone marrow turn into blood cells. And instead of a tooth falling out because you ate too much candy, it falls out because the crocodile has been gnawing on a bunch of rocks. That brings us to number 2. They have a never-ending supply of stem cells. Sure, humans have stem cells too, but they're not exactly great at using them. Your body has most of its stem cells as a baby, and you use them up as you grow. But crocodiles have managed to keep their stem cell factories cranking out new cells by slowing down the aging process of those cells. While we don't know exactly how they do it, it may have to do with the fact that they're cold-blooded, since scientists have found that lower temperatures slow down aging. Whatever the reason, the result is that their stem cells can basically live forever, meaning that a crocodile could theoretically replace its teeth forever. But we're not immortal yet. That leads us to point 3. Even though crocodiles can keep replacing their teeth, they don't replace them all at once. Otherwise, they might end up with extra teeth. That would be a nightmare trying to chew food with misaligned chompers. And since you can only grow one tooth at a time, it takes a long time to replace all of your teeth. Adult crocodiles have between 60 and 70 sharp teeth. But over the course of their lives, they'll probably grow thousands of them. Scientists estimate that a crocodile can replace its teeth about 50 times. Considering that a crocodile's lifespan can be 70 years or longer, that means they're replacing their teeth pretty frequently. We're talking about once or twice per year. So why do crocodiles replace their teeth so often? Well, that's because they're constantly losing them. Their teeth aren't just falling out on their own. Crocodiles are knocking them out. They use their teeth to crack open hard shells and tear apart chunks of meat. And that can cause cracks and chips, which then get infected and fall out. So a crocodile needs new teeth to keep its mouth working properly. And luckily, they don't have to wait long to get them. Number 4. The lost tooth is immediately replaced. As soon as a tooth falls out, the tooth underneath it grows up to take its place. But how does that tooth know what to do? You know, like, should it grow up or sideways? Well, it turns out teeth have a little bit of a mind of their own. See, each tooth has tiny proteins on its surface called morphogens. Those proteins tell the tooth what to do as it grows. For example, if there's no tooth next to it, those proteins tell it to grow sideways and become a replacement tooth. But if it feels a tooth on either side of it, it'll start growing upward. And don't worry, they don't just randomly start growing in weird directions. Their growth is guided by proteins that form a sort of communication network throughout the mouth. It's almost like a game of telephone, except instead of whispers being passed along, chemical signals are passed along. And it's super precise. Teeth know exactly which direction to grow and how long to keep growing. So if a crocodile loses its front tooth, a new tooth will pop right up in its place. Same with the back tooth. It knows to grow forward and fill the gap. But if the middle tooth falls out, two teeth will try to grow up to take its place. So the tooth on one side doesn't get to be the replacement tooth. It has to fight for it. And it does that by releasing chemical signals to tell the other tooth to move over and make room for it. So it's not just random teeth growing in random directions. Everything is highly coordinated. Now, we know that crocodiles replace their teeth by growing new ones underneath them. But we didn't really talk about what happens to the old tooth. Well, it doesn't just disappear. In fact, it gets reabsorbed by the body. As the tooth grows underneath, it gets bigger and bigger, eventually pushing against the roots of the older tooth. At first, that puts pressure on the roots, which causes them to break away from the jawbone. But later, special cells come along and completely dissolve the roots, causing the tooth to fall out. Once it's gone, the tooth is pretty much recycled. Its minerals get put back into the body and used for other things, like maybe growing new scales. So to sum it all up, crocodiles have a built-in tooth factory. Underneath each tooth, there's a tooth-growing stem cell factory. And when a tooth breaks, falls out, or gets knocked out, that tooth factory kicks into gear and starts making a new tooth. Because crocodiles don't have the ability to floss or visit the dentist, they have to rely on this system to keep them alive. Losing a tooth could be disastrous for a crocodile. After all, they need their teeth to hunt and eat. And if they can't hunt and eat, well, they won't survive. So this incredible adaptation allows them to always have sharp teeth. They never have to worry about a toothache, and they don't have to worry about worn or broken teeth when biting down on a large piece of prey. Instead, they always have brand new weapons to use when attacking. Now you know how a crocodile replaces its teeth. Do you know any obscure nature facts? Share them in the comments. And remember to floss so you don't have to replace your teeth. Unless you're a crocodile. Then don't floss. Just keep biting stuff. Thanks for watching.